Have you ever wondered, what does love really mean? How to build a relationship that is not only lasting but also happy? Have you ever sensed a tug in his words or a shadow in his eyes that feels more than nostalgia? When a man's heart is still tied to someone he once loved, subtle habits emerge, echoes of a past that refuse to fade. In this video, we'll uncover the 7 surprising behaviors that reveal he's not quite over his ex. From casual mentions and secret social media checks to emotional keepsakes and readiness to reconnect at the slightest prompt. Recognizing these signs early can save you heartache and guide you toward the clarity you deserve. Let's dive in and illuminate the hidden truths behind his actions. Welcome to Sophia's Knowledge channel, and my name is Sophia. This is where lessons about love will help you better understand this complex emotion. In today's video, we will learn about 7 things men do when they still have feelings for their ex. Be prepared because the secrets and insights you are about to discover may make you rethink yourself and the relationships around you. Before we begin, find a quiet space, put on your headphones and relax. Let your mind completely immerse in these shares and enjoy every wonderful moment. Are you ready to discover new things about love? Let's start with Sophia right now. Number 1. Frequently mentioning the ex during conversations. When a man still harbors feelings for his ex, it often slips out in ways he might not even realize. One of the clearest signs is how frequently he mentions her during everyday conversations. It could be as subtle as referencing an inside joke they once shared, or as obvious as recounting entire stories from their past relationship. Either way, these mentions are rarely accidental. They reveal that emotionally, a part of him is still living in the past. At first glance, it might seem innocent. After all, we all have past experiences that shape who we are. Talking about an ex occasionally, especially when relevant to a story or lesson learned, is normal. However, when her name surfaces repeatedly, even when the conversation does not warrant it, it becomes a glaring red flag. It suggests that she continues to occupy a significant space in his mind and heart. For example, imagine you are discussing a new restaurant that just opened in town. Instead of focusing on your shared excitement, he suddenly says, "I went to a similar place with my ex. She loved it." This seemingly casual comment might seem harmless at first, but if patterns like this repeat over time, it becomes hard to ignore. His brain keeps looping back to memories with her, indicating unresolved emotions. This behavior can manifest in many ways. He might compare you to her, albeit unconsciously, by noting how you do things differently or similarly. He might bring up her hobbies, her talents, her quirks, or even her flaws. The common thread is that his ex is a recurring point of reference for him. It is as if he is using his past relationship as a benchmark against which everything new is measured. Why does this happen? Emotional attachments, especially deep ones, do not simply vanish after a breakup. When someone has truly loved, the memories intertwine with their identity. Letting go of an ex means dismantling part of the emotional framework they have built around their experiences, and that process can be slow and painful. Mentioning an ex in conversation is often a subconscious attempt to keep that emotional connection alive, even when they are trying to move forward. From the perspective of a new partner, hearing constant references to an ex can feel disheartening and frustrating. It raises uncomfortable questions. Am I being compared? Am I just a rebound? Is he truly ready for something new? These feelings are valid. Emotional availability is a crucial foundation for any healthy relationship. When a man's words reveal that his heart is still tied to the past, it creates an emotional barrier that can be difficult to overcome. It is also important to recognize that not all mentions are equal. The tone, context, and frequency matter. Occasional, neutral mentions might simply reflect a healthy acceptance of the past. However, frequent, emotional, or wistful references point to lingering attachment. Pay attention not just to what he says, but how he says it. Nostalgic tones, longing sighs, or visible sadness when talking about her are key indicators that he has not fully moved on. If you find yourself in this situation, it is important to address it with sensitivity and honesty. Accusing him or making him feel guilty will likely backfire. Instead, express how you feel when the ex is constantly mentioned. For example, you could say, "I understand that your past shaped who you are, and I respect that. However, when your ex comes up so often, it makes me feel like I am not fully seen or valued in the present." A mature conversation can help clarify where he stands emotionally. Sometimes, frequent mentions of an ex are a sign that a man is not yet ready for a new serious relationship. Healing takes time, and rushing into a new relationship without properly processing past heartbreaks can lead to deeper wounds for both people involved. In some cases, it might be wise to step back and give him the space he needs to fully let go before pursuing something deeper. Ultimately, you deserve to be with someone who is present with you, not someone whose heart is still entangled in the past. Love thrives in the here and now. When a man is truly ready to build something new, his focus will naturally shift toward you, your shared experiences, and the future you could create together. In conclusion, when a man frequently brings up his ex during conversations, it is not something to ignore or brush aside. It is a window into his emotional world, revealing attachments that words alone cannot hide. Pay attention to the patterns, trust your instincts, and remember that you are worthy of someone who chooses you fully, not someone who is still clinging to what has been lost. Have you ever been in a similar situation? If so, please share your story in the comments. I look forward to hearing your interesting experiences. And if you find this content useful, please like and share to spread the message to more people. Thank you for your support. Let's continue together. Number 2. Silently keeping tabs on the ex through social media. In today's digital age, social media has become a powerful yet subtle way for people to stay connected. It offers an easy window into someone else's life without requiring direct communication. For a man who has not fully moved on from his ex, social media often becomes the silent thread that keeps him emotionally attached. He may no longer call or text her, but his quiet monitoring of her online presence tells a deeper story. When a man still has feelings for his ex, he may find it difficult to completely sever the emotional bond. Instead of reaching out directly, he lurks in the background. He checks her posts, watches her stories, notices her new friendships, and keeps track of major life updates. He might not interact publicly. There are no likes, no comments, no visible trace of his presence. But behind the scenes, he knows more about her current life than he admits. This silent observation often stems from unresolved emotions. Even if he tells himself he is just curious or casually checking, the truth is that his heart still cares. Social media becomes a substitute for the closeness he once had. It feeds his longing, his curiosity, and sometimes even his hope that there could still be a future between them. The act of silently following an ex is not just a harmless habit. It has psychological consequences. Instead of allowing wounds to heal naturally, constant exposure to updates about an ex reopens those wounds again and again. Every photo, every milestone, every smiling face with someone new can stir up feelings of jealousy, regret, or sadness. Yet despite the pain, he cannot seem to look away. From the outside, it can be difficult to notice when a man is silently monitoring his ex. Unlike mentioning her in conversation, which is more obvious, this behavior happens in private. However, subtle signs may surface. He might bring up facts about her that he should not know. He might seem unusually aware of events happening in her life. If questioned, he may downplay it, claiming that it was just on his feed or popped up randomly. But if it happens frequently, it is not a coincidence. Why does he do it? Part of it is emotional attachment, but there is also an element of fear. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of losing the last connection. Fear that she might move on completely without him. By silently keeping tabs, he feels a sense of control, even if it is only an illusion. In some cases, he may compare what he sees on social media with his current relationship. If his ex seems happier, more successful, or more loved, he may begin to idealize her and question his present choices. This can create emotional turmoil, not only for himself but for his new partner, who may sense his divided attention. For the woman dating a man who is still silently following his ex, this behavior can be unsettling. It creates a feeling of being overshadowed, of competing with a ghost from the past. Even if he is physically present, part of his emotional energy is directed elsewhere. This can prevent the new relationship from developing the depth and intimacy it needs to thrive. It is important to understand that healing from a past relationship requires intentional detachment. Allowing oneself to repeatedly revisit an ex's life through social media is like picking at a scab. It delays the healing process and traps both individuals in a cycle of emotional dependency. If you suspect that the man you are seeing is still silently connected to his ex through social media, approach the topic with care. Avoid accusations or confrontations. Instead, express your feelings honestly. You might say, "I value building a relationship where both of us are fully present. I would love for us to focus on our own story, not past relationships." A gentle but firm boundary can encourage him to reflect on his actions. Ultimately, if a man truly wants to move forward, he needs to make a conscious choice to let go. That may involve unfollowing his ex, muting her updates, or even deleting old conversations. It is not about bitterness or immaturity. It is about creating emotional space for something new and meaningful to grow. Love cannot flourish where emotional ties to the past still linger. A healthy relationship is built on mutual presence, not silent nostalgia. When a man is ready to invest in a new chapter, he will no longer feel the need to keep one eye on the rearview mirror. In conclusion, silently keeping tabs on an ex through social media is a quiet but powerful indicator that a man has not fully moved on. While it may seem harmless on the surface, it speaks volumes about where his heart truly lies. Recognizing this behavior with clarity and compassion can help you make wiser decisions about your own emotional journey. You deserve to be someone's priority, not someone's emotional afterthought. If you are still watching the video, do not hesitate to comment continue. Leave your thoughts and questions below in the comment section. I look forward to hearing your opinions, and do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that Sophia has more motivation to create more good and meaningful videos. Let's continue together. Number 3. Comparing the new partner to the ex, whether intentionally or unintentionally. When a man has not fully moved on from his ex, comparisons often sneak into his thoughts and, at times, into his words. Sometimes he does it consciously, sometimes it happens without him even realizing. Either way, comparing a new partner to a former love is a significant sign that emotional closure has not been achieved. It reveals that part of him is still anchored in the past, still measuring the present by what was lost. Comparisons can take many subtle forms. He might comment on how you laugh, noting that it reminds him of someone else. He might mention that his ex used to love the same hobbies you enjoy, or he might highlight differences, suggesting that you are more serious or less spontaneous than she was. These comments might seem casual or even complimentary at times, but beneath the surface, they carry an emotional weight. From the outside, it might seem flattering at first. After all, being compared favorably to someone he once loved could feel like a sign that he values you even more. But over time, constant comparisons, whether positive or negative, create a shadow in the relationship. You are no longer just yourself in his eyes. You are being measured against someone else's memory, someone who may be idealized beyond reality. Why do these comparisons happen? When someone experiences deep emotional attachment, the mind tends to create mental templates based on that relationship. Without fully healing, a person carries those templates into the next connection, often subconsciously. Instead of embracing the new partner as a unique individual, they unintentionally use the past as a frame of reference for evaluating the present. This is problematic for several reasons. First, it prevents true intimacy. Genuine love grows when two people see each other clearly, without the distortion of past experiences clouding their perception. If a man is constantly comparing you to his ex, he is not fully seeing you for who you are. Instead, he is seeing how you fit, or do not fit, into a mold created by another woman. Second, it breeds insecurity. No matter how competent you are, being compared to someone else chips away at your sense of self-worth. You may begin to question if you are enough, if you are measuring up to an invisible standard you had no part in creating. Over time, this dynamic can erode your emotional security and weaken the bond between you. Third, it signals unresolved emotional baggage. If he is still referencing his ex, even internally, it suggests that part of his heart has not yet closed that chapter. True readiness for a new relationship requires letting go of old attachments and building something fresh, free from the echoes of the past. It is important to distinguish between occasional mentions and persistent comparisons. Everyone brings life experiences into new relationships, and it is normal to reference the past sometimes. The key difference lies in frequency and emotional tone. Occasional, neutral mentions are healthy. Constant, emotionally charged comparisons are not. If you find yourself in a relationship where you are often compared to an ex, it is crucial to address it with openness and care. Avoid responding with anger or accusations. Instead, share how it makes you feel. You might say, "I want to build something special with you, something that is about us. When comparisons to your past come up, it makes me feel like I am not fully accepted for who I am." A man who genuinely values you will listen. He will reflect on his behavior and, if he is ready for a healthy relationship, he will take steps to stop viewing you through the lens of his past. However, if he becomes defensive or dismissive, it may indicate deeper emotional entanglements that he is not prepared to resolve. Healing from a past relationship requires conscious effort. It involves honoring what was, learning from it, and then releasing it to make space for new love. If a man continues to compare, it means he is still clinging to a version of happiness that no longer exists, preventing himself and his new partner from truly moving forward. You deserve to be loved for who you are, not for how closely you resemble someone else. You deserve a relationship where you are not in constant competition with a memory. True love celebrates the present, cherishes the person standing before you, and builds a future free from the shadows of the past. In conclusion, when a man frequently compares his new partner to his ex, whether intentionally or unintentionally, it is a clear signal that emotional closure has not been reached. Recognizing this pattern early can save you from investing deeply in a relationship that is still tethered to old emotions. Choose to be with someone who chooses you fully, without measuring you against someone who is no longer part of their life. Number 4. Unwilling to let go of keepsakes related to the ex. One of the most telling signs that a man has not fully moved on from his past relationship is his reluctance to part with keepsakes connected to his ex. These keepsakes could be anything from photos, love letters, gifts, or even small, seemingly insignificant objects that hold sentimental value. While it is natural to have mementos from different phases of life, an emotional attachment to items from a former relationship often reveals deeper unresolved feelings. On the surface, keeping a few items might appear harmless. Some people argue that the past shapes who they are, and preserving a piece of it is part of honoring their journey. However, when those items are held onto with particular care, hidden away but never discarded, it raises a crucial question. Why is it so hard to let them go? Emotional attachment to keepsakes often serves as a bridge between the present and the past. For a man who is still emotionally connected to his ex, these objects are not just things. They are physical embodiments of memories, feelings, and experiences he may not be ready to release. Each item acts as a trigger, evoking nostalgia, regret, or longing every time it is seen or touched. You might notice that he keeps a box tucked away somewhere, filled with old letters or photographs. Maybe he still wears a piece of jewelry gifted by his ex, or he clings to objects that hold no real practical value but immense emotional significance. If confronted, he may downplay their importance, insisting that they are just memories or meaningless now. Yet, if he truly believed they were meaningless, letting go would not be so difficult. The deeper truth is that these keepsakes offer emotional comfort. They provide a sense of connection to a time when love was vibrant, when promises felt real, and when a significant person was an active part of his life. Holding on to these items allows him to momentarily escape into the past, avoiding the painful acceptance that the relationship has ended. This reluctance to part with the past can become a silent barrier in new relationships. It may not be visible every day, but it lingers beneath the surface, preventing him from fully investing in someone new. Emotionally, he is straddling two worlds, one foot in the past, one foot in the present. This split focus inevitably affects the depth and authenticity of any new emotional bond. For the woman in a new relationship with such a man, discovering these keepsakes can be deeply unsettling. It may create feelings of insecurity, jealousy, or doubt. You might wonder if you are merely a placeholder, if he still yearns for what he lost, or if you are competing with memories that you can never erase. It is essential to approach this situation with compassion but also with clarity. Everyone processes breakups differently, and for some, letting go takes longer. However, there is a difference between respecting the past and clinging to it. If he is still holding on to tangible pieces of a former relationship, it is fair to ask whether he is truly ready to build something new. Open communication is key. Instead of making accusations, express how you feel when you see these keepsakes. You might say, "I understand that your past is a part of who you are, and I respect that. But when I see objects from your previous relationship still being kept so carefully, it makes me feel like there is still an emotional tie that has not been broken." A man who values you and is genuinely ready to move forward will listen and reflect. He may realize that letting go of these items is not about erasing his past, but about making room for a new and healthier future. If he resists or becomes defensive, it may be a sign that he still has emotional work to do before he can fully commit to a new relationship. Letting go of keepsakes is not just about physical decluttering, it is an emotional act of release. It is a declaration that the past no longer holds power over the present. It is a necessary step in creating space for new memories, new love, and a deeper emotional connection that is rooted in the here and now. In conclusion, when a man is unwilling to let go of keepsakes related to his ex, it is a strong indicator that he has not yet closed that chapter of his life. While it is important to honor where we come from, it is equally important to recognize when holding on prevents us from truly moving forward. Love thrives in the present, not in the shadow of what once was. You deserve a relationship where the past is respected but no longer worshipped, where you are not living in the echoes of old memories but creating new ones together. Number 5. Avoiding serious relationship talks with a new partner. One of the most revealing signs that a man is still emotionally entangled with his ex is his noticeable avoidance of serious relationship conversations with his new partner. When a man is truly ready for a fresh start, he embraces the idea of building a future. He is open to discussing hopes, dreams, and long-term plans. But when his heart is still partially anchored in the past, the mere thought of serious commitment feels heavy, overwhelming, or even threatening. At the beginning of a relationship, it is normal for things to move at a comfortable pace. However, as time progresses, a healthy relationship naturally evolves toward discussions about the future. Topics like exclusivity, shared goals, meeting families, or even vague talks about where the relationship is headed should not feel like forbidden territory. If they are consistently met with evasion, hesitation, or discomfort, it is worth paying attention. A man who is emotionally ready will engage with these conversations openly, even if he moves slowly. But a man who is still haunted by his previous love will often avoid them altogether. He might change the subject, joke to deflect the seriousness, or claim that he wants to take things slow without ever defining what that actually means. Over time, his reluctance becomes more obvious. Why does this happen? The emotional residue from his past relationship creates fear. Fear of getting hurt again. Fear of making the same mistakes. Fear of betraying the memory of what he once had. Deep down, he may still be hoping, consciously or unconsciously, that something might rekindle with his ex. Or he may simply be too emotionally exhausted to invest in building something new. Either way, he is not fully available. Avoiding serious talks is not just about buying time. It is a way of protecting himself from vulnerability. Commitment requires vulnerability. It demands that he let go of the past, trust in the present, and risk the unknown future. If he is not healed, those steps feel daunting rather than exciting. For the woman in the relationship, this avoidance can feel confusing and painful. You may feel like you are giving your heart to someone who only shows up halfway. You may find yourself questioning your own worth, wondering if you are enough to inspire him to move forward. But the truth is, this hesitation is not about your value. It is about his internal struggle. It is essential to approach this situation with clarity and self-respect. Patience is important, but so are your emotional needs. You deserve a relationship where your desire for connection, growth, and commitment is met with equal enthusiasm. If you find that serious conversations are always dodged or postponed indefinitely, it is time to have an honest dialogue. Bring it up gently but firmly. You could say, "I feel that building a future together requires open communication about where we are heading. It is important to me to know that we are on the same page." Watch how he responds. A man who truly cares and is ready to move forward will recognize the importance of these conversations, even if he admits to feeling some fear. He will show a willingness to work through those fears with you. However, if he continues to resist, minimizes your feelings, or makes vague promises with no real action, it signals deeper emotional unavailability. In that case, you must decide whether you are willing to wait indefinitely for someone who may never be able to fully show up for you. Relationships built on half-presence are fragile. They breed insecurity, doubt, and frustration. You deserve a partner who is emotionally present, not someone whose heart and mind are stuck in a story that has already ended. Avoidance of serious talks is not just about fear of commitment. It is often about unresolved grief. He may still be mourning the loss of his previous relationship, whether he admits it or not. Until that grief is fully processed, he cannot offer you the kind of love and stability you deserve. Healing takes time, and sometimes stepping away from a half-formed relationship gives both people the space they need to heal properly. Loving someone should never feel like a constant waiting game, hoping that one day they will finally choose you fully. In conclusion, when a man consistently avoids serious relationship conversations, it is not a phase to overlook. It is a reflection of his emotional readiness. Pay attention not just to his words, but to his actions. True love grows through mutual presence, honesty, and a shared willingness to build something real. You deserve a relationship where serious conversations are welcomed, not feared. You deserve a future that is nurtured, not postponed. Number 6. Frequently reminiscing about the past with regret. When a man frequently reminisces about his past relationship with regret, it is a clear indication that he has not fully healed. His words, tone, and even his silent moments often reveal where his heart still lingers. Reflecting on the past is natural, but when those reflections are soaked in regret and longing, it signals emotional entanglement that can seriously affect his ability to move forward with someone new. At first, these moments of reminiscing may seem harmless. He might casually bring up a vacation he once took, a favorite song he shared with his ex, or special traditions they used to celebrate together. However, what makes these recollections concerning is the emotional tone behind them. If he speaks with visible sadness, wistfulness, or a sense of deep loss, it shows that he is still emotionally tethered to what he once had. The human mind often idealizes the past, especially after a painful ending. Memories become distorted, focusing more on the highs and less on the lows. A man who frequently reminisces in this way may be clinging to a fantasy version of his previous relationship, forgetting the real reasons it ended. This idealization creates an emotional prison where no new relationship can compete with the glorified memory of the old one. Why does he do this? Regret is a powerful emotion. It represents the feeling that something precious was lost, perhaps due to mistakes he made or circumstances he could not control. By replaying those moments in his mind, he tries to rewrite the ending, to somehow hold on to a chapter that has already closed. It gives him temporary comfort but ultimately prevents healing. For a new partner, witnessing this behavior can be deeply painful. You may feel like an outsider in your own relationship, competing not with another woman, but with a memory that has been polished to perfection over time. No matter how wonderful you are, you can never fully satisfy someone who is stuck wishing for what once was. His regretful reminiscing may also manifest in subtle ways. He might shy away from creating new traditions with you because he fears they will never measure up to the ones he lost. He may hesitate to open his heart fully because part of it is still mourning the past. Even moments that should feel joyful might be tinged with an invisible sadness. It is important to recognize the difference between healthy reflection and unhealthy longing. A healthy person acknowledges the past, appreciates the lessons learned, and moves forward with hope. An unhealthy attachment, however, traps a person in a cycle of what-ifs and if-onlys, leaving little room for new happiness. If you notice that the man you are with often talks about his ex with regret, it is crucial to address it thoughtfully. Avoid confronting him with anger or jealousy. Instead, express your feelings calmly and openly. You might say, "I understand that your past relationship was meaningful, and it shaped who you are. But when I hear you speak with so much sadness about it, I worry that there might not be enough space in your heart for something new." This kind of honest conversation can open the door for deeper understanding. A man who genuinely wants to move forward will appreciate your sensitivity and may begin to confront his own lingering emotions. However, if he becomes defensive or insists that you are imagining things, it may be a sign that he is not ready to fully invest in a new relationship. Healing from regret is a personal journey. It requires more than just time. It demands a conscious decision to release the past and embrace the present. Until a man chooses to do this, he will remain emotionally unavailable, no matter how much he claims to want a future with you. As difficult as it may be, sometimes the best gift you can give yourself is the freedom to walk away from someone who is not yet ready. You deserve a relationship where your love is not overshadowed by the ghosts of yesterday. You deserve a partner who is fully present with you, building new memories instead of mourning old ones. In conclusion, when a man frequently reminisces about the past with regret, it is a powerful signal that he has not yet let go. Recognizing this pattern early allows you to make wise decisions about your emotional investment. True love grows not from clinging to the past, but from embracing the present and looking forward to the future. Choose a relationship where both hearts are fully free to love again. Number 7. Always ready to reconnect if the ex reaches out. Perhaps one of the most telling signs that a man has not truly moved on from his past relationship is his readiness to reconnect the moment his ex reaches out. Even if he seems fully engaged in a new relationship, if his emotional loyalty still lies with his ex, It often becomes clear when he suddenly becomes available for her, no matter how much time has passed. This readiness can show itself in different ways. Maybe he responds instantly to her messages, even when he normally delays responding to others. Maybe he agrees to meet her without hesitation, using vague excuses like just catching up or being friendly. Sometimes he does not even think twice about prioritizing her needs or offering support, even at the cost of disrespecting his current relationship. Why does this happen? Emotional ties, especially those formed through intense relationships, can linger long after the breakup. Even when life moves on, a part of the heart remains stuck in what was lost. When the ex reaches out, it stirs up all those old emotions: hope, longing, the possibility of reconciliation, emotions that may have been buried but never truly extinguished. For a man who is not healed, the ex's message or call feels like a portal back to a version of life he misses. It is tempting. It represents unfinished business, unresolved emotions, and sometimes, the fantasy of what could have been if things had gone differently. His readiness to respond reflects not just lingering love, but also emotional dependency. From the perspective of a new partner, this behavior is deeply hurtful. It feels like a betrayal, not necessarily in a physical sense, but emotionally. You realize that despite everything you are building together, his heart is still partially tied to someone else. It creates a painful dynamic where you feel like you are competing not just with memories, but with an active possibility that he might leave if given the chance. Even worse, a man who is emotionally unhealed may not even recognize how damaging his actions are. He might justify his behavior by saying they are just friends, that he owes her nothing, or that he is just being polite. However, true emotional loyalty means protecting the sanctity of the new relationship, not keeping doors open to the past. It is important to understand that people who are truly over their ex do not entertain opportunities to rekindle old flames. They recognize that the relationship ended for a reason. They respect their present relationship enough to maintain firm boundaries with the past. If a man cannot resist reconnecting with his ex, it is a strong indicator that he is not fully committed to his new path. So how can you recognize this pattern early? Pay attention to how he reacts if his ex contacts him. Does he light up when he sees her name? Does he hide their conversations from you? Does he defend his continued closeness with her without acknowledging your feelings? These are not small issues. They are flashing warning signs. If you find yourself in this situation, it is crucial to address it with courage and honesty. Express your concerns clearly. You might say, "I believe in respecting the past, but I also believe in honoring the relationship we are building now. It worries me when you stay so connected to your ex, because it makes me question where your true loyalty lies." How he responds to this conversation will tell you everything you need to know. A man who truly values you will understand, reflect, and take appropriate action to reinforce healthy boundaries. A man who minimizes your feelings or continues to keep the emotional door open to his ex is showing you where his priorities truly are. It is essential to remember that you deserve to be with someone whose heart is fully present with you. You deserve a partner who chooses you every day, not someone who treats you as a backup plan while still longing for what was lost. Staying with someone who is emotionally available only when it is convenient, or who could easily be pulled back into the arms of an ex, is a recipe for heartache. Love requires presence, commitment, and the courage to fully close old chapters before writing new ones. In conclusion, when a man is always ready to reconnect if his ex reaches out, it is a powerful sign that he has not moved on. No matter how good things seem on the surface, unresolved emotions will eventually surface and cause pain. You deserve a love that stands firm, not one that wavers at the first call from the past. Choose yourself. Choose a love that is rooted firmly in the present, with someone who has both feet and his whole heart in the relationship with you. Conclusion. In closing, recognizing these 7 behaviors, frequently mentioning an ex, silently monitoring her online life, comparing you to her, holding on to keepsakes, avoiding serious commitment, dwelling on past regrets, and remaining ready to reconnect, can serve as valuable warning signs. They reveal emotional attachments that linger long after the relationship has officially ended, preventing genuine intimacy and growth in any new partnership. While it is natural for memories of a meaningful relationship to resurface from time to time, a pattern of these behaviors points to unresolved feelings that need to be addressed before a man can fully invest in someone new. For you, the new partner, noticing these signs is not about assigning blame but about understanding the emotional landscape you both inhabit. Open, compassionate conversations about how these behaviors affect your relationship can be the first step toward clarity. Encourage honesty, ask where his heart truly stands, what he needs to move on, and whether he is willing to let go of the past to build something fresh. True readiness for a new relationship involves both the willingness to heal old wounds and the commitment to create new memories free from the shadows of yesterday. Ultimately, you deserve a partner who is fully present, someone whose focus is on you and on the shared future you can create together. If these patterns persist despite sincere efforts to address them, it may be a sign that more time and self-reflection are needed, or that you must protect your own emotional well-being by setting firmer boundaries. Healing is a personal journey, and sometimes the healthiest choice is to step back and allow each person the space to grow. Remember that love thrives when both individuals come to the present moment with open hearts, ready to embrace new possibilities rather than cling to what has already passed. Thank you for watching the video until the end. I hope that today's sharing about love will bring you new perspectives and help you gain valuable lessons. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and share with your loved ones. I am very grateful for your companionship, and hope that each video will help you get closer to a happy and sustainable love. See you in the next videos. Wish you a wonderful and inspiring day.